Hi, we're here today with retired Senior Master Sergeant Gus Sininger, Purple Heart recipient, 3 tours in Vietnam. But you've heard enough of my voice. Let's hear it from him. Where are you from originally, sir?
Originally, I was born in Cincinnati, Ohio, and raised in Kentucky for
Okay.
16 years. Graduated from high school in Kentucky. And 3 of us, after we graduated, went over to Cincinnati to see a movie
Yeah.
called Psycho.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
never forget it. And we come out of the movie, and across the street was a recruiting office. We looked at each other and says, let's just join the service.
What?
Yeah, and we did. All 3 of us joined the Air Force. We knew we didn't want to get our number called up because we knew it was coming soon.
Oh,
They still had the draft
So the
then.
draft, what year was this?
60.
Okay. Okay.
That's when I graduated, 1960.
Yeah.
And, so we all joined the service. And 2 of them only spent 4 years. And that's all I was going to do. But
Yeah.
things changed. You know how you go. You got kids, and next thing you know, you can't afford to get out.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
Yeah.
so from there, I went to, of course, basic training in Lackland, then Shepherd for my technical training on aircraft, crew chiefing.
Okay. You were crew chief.
Yeah, and then every place I went to ended up being called the flying crew chief. Where that plane went, you went.
Yeah.
And then I got stationed at Otis Air Force Base,
Otis.
Cape Cod, Massachusetts.
Okay. Okay.
Just down from Hyannisport when Kennedy was president.
Ah.
And I was on alert. And I don't know if you know what a mohole is. That's where you keep airplanes on alert, and you live in an underground mohole.
Okay. Yes.
That's why they call it a mohole.
Yeah, I've seen them around like Seymour Johnson.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure what they were.
No, this is Otis had them.
Okay. Okay.
And see, I lost my train of thought.
Well, you were on alert in a
Yeah,
mohole.
on alert in a mohole.
Yeah, at Otis.
When the assassination happened.
Oh wow.
And we ran out and started our engines. And next thing you know, here comes a convoy in from Hyannisport. That's all his family was brought into there.
Wow.
And we just thought we were going to be in World War III. We just knew we were going to be.
Yeah.
And
what was the speculation among the airmen and the troops?
we all thought we were going to go to war. You know, and Cuba tested us to the highest limits. And with that happening, we thought it was Cuba that done it, but I don't know where Oswald's from or what I don't remember none of that.
No.
But that was a scary moment.
Yeah. What was your job then? Were you
crew chief?
Were you going to bring those family members down to D.C. or what?
No, they were going to stay there until until they could find out what's going on.
Oh,
and that took about 3 days
to protect them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, just in case.
Yeah.
So anyway, I spent about 4 years there and got sent to. We had a lot of TDY out of there. You know what that is, right?
Yeah,
temporary duty. And every place we went was nice and warm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sonnestrom, Thule, Greenland, Iceland. all nice and warm. I had my muckluck boots, my pants, my jacket. All I had was a hole right here.
Yeah.
To see out of.
Yeah.
And it was all iced up.
Like the white parkas that I've seen on. Yeah. I've never had to wear them, but I've seen.
No, we didn't have white then. We had khaki, I guess they were.
Okay.
And walking the heater line. We had to have heaters to keep the oil and the prop oil warm so we can start in case of an emergency.
Yeah.
And the wind blew. God bless America, the wind blew.
And was that C-130s?
No, KC-97s.
Ooh, refuelers.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. That's why we were on alert all the time. Yeah, there was KC-97s. And after that, got stationed at Guam on a case. Well, not a case, it was a C-97, and we used that for R&R flights.
Okay.
You know what that is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Rest and relaxation. You know what the guys call it, right? Rape and run.
That's disturbing.
What? You know, your wife gets come, or wherever you're going, we pick up their R&R flight for their 30 days or 15 days, wherever they get.
Yeah.
We would fly into the Philippines. We fly into Hong Kong.
Okay.
We fly into Okinawa. We fly into Australia.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved Australia.
Yeah.
Oh, loved laying there, landing there. And anyway, I spent 2.5 years there, and then 2.5 years is when the B-52s came in from all over the world.
Wow. Okay.
They used them, for their arc lights.
Yeah.
In North Vietnam. And I had to walk the chute line, they called it.
Yeah.
Them chutes ain't light. They put out a drag chute when they land.
Yeah.
And we had to get them up, throw them back in the truck. Get them up, throw them back in the truck. Gee whiz, that was we went from. I was living on base housing though. The barracks went from 2-man rooms to 8.
Wow.
One toilet between 16 people because the bathroom sat in the middle.
Wow.
I felt so sorry for the guy. God almighty. Well, I got through that, and then I got sent to Vietnam in '68 for my first tour.
Okay.
And that's where I got
wounded.
I been there about a month, still living in a temporary barracks before I could get into the assigned 21st Task Barracks.
Okay.
And I'm laying there, and the base siren goes off. And we got people telling, go to the nearest bunker, right over there, go to the nearest bunker. He kept saying, go to the nearest bunker. Well, I come down the stairs, ran to the bunker. A rocket came in right in front, or actually behind the bunker. And I dove into the entrance.
Yeah.
And nothing fazed me or nothing. So they all clear sounds. They must have put in about 122 rockets.
Wow.
All over the base.
Wow.
Well, we lived.
That's a lot of
base set here, and there's a big mountain right there. So they had easy.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, I'd go back and get in bed. Of course, I couldn't sleep. I guess I must have fell asleep for about an hour. I woke up, my leg was this big around.
Shrapnel? Wow.
It wasn't no bigger than the end of a pencil lead, though.
Wow.
It's buried in the calf of my left leg. So they called the ambulance. They come and get me, take me to the hospital.
You never felt it when it hit you?
No, because adrenaline was so high.
Yeah.
And I dove in. I figured,
That's incredible.
And I went to the hospital. I was in there for about 3 days. The second day, the chaplain, the base commander, and the hospital commander was walking around passing out Purple Hearts. Then I didn't know what that meant to, because I wasn't going to stay for 4 years. That was going to be my last tour.
Yeah.
68. I extended 1 year from 64 to 68. That's 4 years.
Yeah.
It's 4 years in the Air Force.
Yeah.
2 years Army and 2 years in the Marines. Yeah. But anyway, I looked at them and I said, all I got is a little piece of shrapnel in my leg. Mm-hmm. And I reached over and got the bottle. See, that's all that was. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go back to duty.
Yeah.
These guys around me are not.
Yeah.
They had arms and face messed up, legs, and all that kind of stuff. I said, no, I don't deserve that. I really don't. Mm-hmm. So that was it. Okay, so I got through that tour, come back home, got sent to, where did I go from there? Let me think a minute. Where did I go from there? I think I went to, that was 68. I went to Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Okay.
And I loved that place.
F.E. Warren?
Francis E. Warren.
Okay.
Missile base.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we had a C-47 I was a flying crew chief on.
Okay.
We flew the clock that set all of the missiles to the Greenwich time.
Oh, wow.
You know, because that's what they used in the command centers, Greenwich times.
Yeah.
So I was there for a little over a year and a half. And I went to pick up my toolbox to put it in the air. You know how the air can kind of sits like this, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then gears up here and a tail wheel back here.
Okay.
And I went to pick my toolbox, picked it up, slammed it up in there, and man, I felt something pull all the way from my arm all the way down to my groin.
Yeah.
Man, that felt funny. Yeah, I shook it off. Well, it kept hurting. So I went to the flight surgeon. You know how they like to do
Yeah.
the finger wave.
The flight surgeon?
Yeah, that's what they do. They try, they check your prostrate and they check your
Oh, yeah.
appendix.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
They can check all that from there.
Yeah.
Couldn't find nothing. Didn't do no X-ray or nothing. So another month went by. And it's getting worse.
Yeah.
So I went back to him and they did the same. I went back 3 times and they couldn't find what was wrong with me. Well, about that time, I said, well, hell, I'm going to go hunting. So I was going to go bear hunting. I got all dressed up. My wife fixed me breakfast for me. I got to the front door and collapsed.
Dang.
Excuse me. They rushed me to the hospital. They did the same thing. They still couldn't find it, so they're going to do exploratory. Just in case it is the appendix. Or they start on the right side.
Okay.
Hey, come, excuse me.
Oh, no problem.
Can I offer you something to drink?
Oh, we have water.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, yep, sure enough, it was appendix. And what had happened was when I picked that toolbox up, I stretched it, and a tiny rip in it. And it kept dripping out into me, infected, get in.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I went systemic. Is that the right word? Yeah, I think so. And
Cystic.
they called my mother in.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know what was going to happen. Because when I woke up, I had tubes coming out of here, and out of here.
Oh my God.
They were draining all that poison out of me because it was killing me.
Yeah.
And I was like that for about a month.
Wow.
They check your blood, you make sure, and all this stuff all the time, every other day, until then they started every day to make sure. And they finally said, it looks like he's going to pull out of it. And my wife and mother said, well, thank the Lord. So I got out of that one. That was in 1969. And I got sent to Shaw Air Force Base.
South Carolina.
South Carolina. On C-45s. And we went wherever they went. Nothing drastic happened there. And from there I got called into the CPPO. That's, that's where you get your orders and things like that.
Okay, like administrative.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, administration.
Okay.
It said, since you're a flying crew chief, they need flight crew chiefs in Vietnam. So I just took the tour to Vietnam.
Mm-hmm.
And, while I was in Guam, that's why I said that's where the second Vietnam was. We flew into Saigon.
Okay.
To pick up the people.
Yeah.
And I'm backtracking, sorry.
No, you're fine.
And we would stay there 1 or 2 nights till they got all the people ready. And then we'd fly them out. We did that about every week.
Okay.
About 2 years. So I called that my second tour.
Yeah.
The third tour is when I got called into the office and they wanted me to volunteer. I said, no. So that didn't work.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, I got orders. Where did I get orders to?
Saigon?
No. Survival Training School.
Ah, I see you're in Fairbanks, Alaska.
No.
Fairchild, Washington.
Yeah.
Yep.
Golly.
Yep.
Glad you can remember. I can't.
Yeah, yeah. It was.
And
Took me a
now
second.
we're going through. Get this. We're going through cold weather survival.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to tell you, it was colder than a titch's tit.
Yeah.
That was cold.
Yeah.
And I spent time in cold weather, so it didn't bother me that much. But it was colder there to me than it was in those cold places.
Yeah. Probably you were stripped down too, right?
Oh yeah. Shoot, yeah. They strip you down, make you stand in your daggone cubic with just your drawers on, and you ain't got no choice but to obey.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'll get through that one. Next thing you know, I get another set of orders. I'm still at Shaw. I got to go through jungle survival now. I said, well, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to that.
Was that in Okinawa?
No, that was in the Philippines.
Okay.
And 1971, early 71. And I met a very good friend of mine. He's been my friend ever since, but he's since passed away, Jerry Brightman. And when I was in high school, I used to chew tobacco, Kentucky Twist.
Okay.
Till I got hit somewhere where you ain't supposed to get hit and swallowed my wad. Like to choke to death on that one. Puked. So anyway, I quit chewing then, and I met Jerry Brightman in the Philippines. And he's got Bloodhound. It's in a thing about like that, you know. Yeah, he chew all. Here, try some of this. This is good stuff. I said, yeah, okay, I haven't chewed. No, it ain't gonna hurt you. Go ahead. So I did. Then I got the hiccup so bad.
Mm-hmm.
I was hiccuping from a tail asshole. And he said, man, I got to take you to the hospital. And I mean, hiccup, not easy, hard.
Yeah.
And they took me to the hospital and they gave me a shot to settle me down for that. Well, I got over that. Then they send you out into the jungle and you got the Negritos going after you, trying to find you. You have to E&E.
Yeah.
Evade and escape.
Yeah.
And you just can't hide from them. They know where all the hiding places are. So they found me right away, and he gets his 2 bags of rice.
Yeah.
You know. So I passed that, and then it's orders to Vietnam to NKP, Non-Com Phenom.
Okay. Well, I'm not. No,
Thailand.
Ah, okay.
That's where we were stationed out of.
Yeah.
So we show up there, and we had to live in a barracks with no air conditioning. It was hotter than a Hades in there. We had a fan, of course, and we had to stay in that thing for about 2 months before we finally got the flight crew barracks, which had air conditioning. And we flew night missions on the AC 119. Well, first of all, from
Spooky Puff.
No, neither one. I'll get you in a minute.
Okay.
Before that, they sent us to Lockbourne for training on the C-1119.
Okay.
And that's a flying boxcar.
Okay.
Look at it right over there.
Ah.
That's it right there.
Yeah.
You want to take a picture of it, it's up to you. You can bring it over here and I'll hold it if you want.
Yeah, we'll do that after we finish this picture.
Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, we went over and do the training, and after we got done with that, they sent us down here for
to Hobart Field
for night flying and training on shooting. The pilots had to learn how to use an open sight.
Okay.
All they had was a little thing over here with the crosshairs in it.
When night vision, or did that didn't exist yet?
Oh yeah, it did.
It did.
Yeah, when the C model didn't. It only had 4 guns.
Okay.
Miniguns.
Yeah.
When they brought the KCs in, they upgraded it, give us SAM radar detection, some other infrared radar, NOS, which is night vision.
Yeah.
And a flare operator back there that got flares in it and got chaff in it.
Okay.
You know what chaff is, right?
Yeah, for invasive maneuvers to Yeah.
Yeah,
It draws heat.
it draws
signatures.
the AAA coming at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, they come down and learn all that, and then they put 2 jets on it to help
Mm-hmm.
because it's a heavy load we're carrying. Because now we got 2 extra guns.
Yeah.
We got 2 20 Mike Mikes.
Okay. Big guns.
Yeah, so we had 2 20 Mike Mikes and 4 miniguns,
Okay.
and a big flare launcher back there. And we had a big candle, what they call a candle. That light must have been that big around
Ah.
that you could
To light up the
area. If
Vietnamese
but you don't want to light it up
yeah.
when you're shooting.
Yeah.
It's particularly if you're getting AAA,
Yeah.
which we never did light it up hardly,
Yeah.
except on a camp one time that was needed help because they lost all the power. They cut the power to them, and they called for a gunship.
Yeah. Troops in contact.
Yeah, DICs.
Okay.
Yeah. Charlie, you're getting to be a pain boy. Anyway, now once you get in the picture,
He is.
he is.
I think so.
There you go. So anyway, we're dodging AAA. We have night missions, and I ended up getting about 289 combat missions out of there.
Wow.
And
As an engineer, were you a gunner then?
no, I was a flight engineer.
Okay.
I sat in the middle of the pilot and co-pilot. You know what I sat on?
Jump seat or something?
Ammo can.
Ah.
I sit on an ammo can on takeoff and landings.
Yeah.
And all I had was the 2 seats to hold on to.
Wow.
And when they broke right, I had to hold on,
Yeah.
to that. If they broke left, I had to hold on, vice versa, whatever I'm saying. To hold on so I don't get flipped over.
Yeah. And your job in there is to monitor the systems.
Yes, the
people
engines.
okay.
And
Engines,
the
flight
instruments all
systems.
up there, yeah.
Okay.
But the throttle controls were mine.
Okay.
It wasn't the pilot or co-pilots. Well, they were the pilots when he wanted them,
Yeah.
but the co-pilot wasn't allowed to touch them. And I had this young Lieutenant Butterbar come in.
Mm-hmm.
Thought, he come off of, I don't know what he come off of. I don't remember. Anyway.
College sounds like it.
Huh?
Butterbar sounds like college. Straight
Yeah.
away.
And his first tour too. That was my third. And he keeps trying to reach over keep his hands on the throttle. I have a big checklist, about that big, about that thick.
Mm-hmm.
Bam! I snapped his knuckles one time.
Yeah.
He looked back at me. I said, "Those are mine, sir. You don't touch them." Well, automatically, they're trained without a flight engineer a lot. And they're used to reaching over
Yeah.
and holding on. And then, the pilot does what he needs to do.
Yeah.
And I snapped him again. I said about 3 times before he finally quit. But he'll never forget, his name was Wayne Lassick.
Wayne Lassick.
Yeah,
I'll have to look him up. Hopefully he made it through Vietnam.
he did, but he didn't get no Purple Heart.
Yeah.
He got DFCs. I ended up getting 3 DFCs. Oh, and while I was
Distinguished Flying Cross?
Distinguished Flying Crosses.
Okay. Okay.
And while I was in Vietnam the first time, 68, I'm backtracking again.
No, it's perfect.
And I was crew chief on a F. The heck was that aircraft? Goodness gracious. It's just one prop.
P.
No, it's Air Force, so it won't be P.
Huh.
But anyway, all that carried was Willie Pete's white phosphorus
Okay.
rockets
Okay.
to mark where either a guy is or where the troops are
Yeah.
for the gunships above. They got shot down a lot too
Yeah.
because they flew low.
Yeah.
They flew about 3,000 feet.
And they would just set up markers.
Yep.
Essentially.
Yeah. And
In-flight JTACs of some sort.
yeah, they always had a Sky Raider with them.
Okay.
Yeah. That carried a whole bunch of ammunition and rockets and you name it.
Okay.
That would help protect them. And we would get them in Vietnam on a 119s too. They would escort us, but sometimes we get F4s to escort us.
Mm.
But anyway, there, I left with that's where was wounded. Got the Purple Heart there, and I got a Bronze Star out of that. Now we're back in Vietnam again, and I get 3 DSCs, 13 air medals, and I can't forget how many other medals I got. I got a checkerboard.
Yeah, 13 air medals.
That's like I said, I had almost 200 combat missions,
Yeah.
and
Did you take a lot of fire?
yeah.
SAMs?
Oh, one time we got a SAM, and a gunner called. He said, "There's a telephone pole coming at us." And I said, "Didn't you go through the briefings?" He said, "Yeah, but I don't know what that is."
Chaff flare and break?
Yeah, we broke.
Yeah.
We broke right, and it went up by us, going like this, and it went off about another 2,000 feet above us.
Wow.
They were shooting for the F4,
Ah.
and the concussion come back down, and the airplane was home.
Mm.
I said, "Well, you know what that was, guys, don't you?" "Yeah, we do." It was a SAM. That was the one and only got of those. Ended up flying into North Vietnam when we weren't supposed to because the navigator got his shit all wrong. And the pilot was pissed. "Nav, do you know where we are? Nav, do you know where we are?" I turned around, looked up, pulled the curtain back. "What's going on?" He said, "I don't know where I'm at."
Oh, shit.
I said, "You better tell him then." He says, "Sir, I don't really know where we're at." "What?" "But I think we're in North Vietnam. Take a heading this way, you know." So we did a kind of a U-turn, come back and stuff in something that you recognize.
Yeah.
And
all this is at night flying. Man.
I lost my pilot while I was there. We just got done eating breakfast and walking back to go to base ops.
Yeah.
We had the daylight mission, which nobody liked to fly.
Yeah.
We got by where my barracks was. I said, "Excuse me, sir." I said, "I got to go in and get my checklist. I forgot it. I'll meet you at base ops." "Okay." At that time, sirens went off for the base.
Yeah.
Incoming rockets.
Yeah.
Well, one hit in the road in front of him.
Yeah.
He looked like he was peppered with 15 shotguns.
Jesus.
Me and another guy run out there, took our T-shirts off and tried to help. He was gone.
Yeah.
And Ronnie Hammond, never forget that. His daughter was just born. He never saw her.
Oh, man.
She's never saw him. Now she's taking a flight to Vietnam, and she's asking us, "Do you know exactly where he was killed?" Because she wants to go and stand on that spot.
Wow.
I said, it was at Da Nang, just in front of the tennis courts. But the rocket hit the road, not the tennis courts.
Yeah.
And that affected me a little bit. Affected me a lot, to be honest with you.
I think, Gus, like, if I could interject, in everyone we talk to, there's this special connection in the Gold Star families, in that daughter and Purple Heart recipients. I think it's shared sacrifice, shedding blood, but the ultimate sacrifice is so profound. In, I'm sure in more ways than you've been a blessing in that daughter's life. You knew her father.
Yeah. We have a Gunship Association reunions.
Okay.
And we have one every year, except for the COVID year.
Yeah.
And since 2000, this year has been held back here again in November.
In November this year, in here.
Back at Hobart.
Okay.
Yeah. Or Fort Walton Beach, really.
Yeah.
We get a hotel. We end up with about 100, 150 people.
Okay.
The very first reunion was strictly flyboys.
Yeah.
The ones that flew,
Yeah.
425 showed up for the first one.
Wow.
And it trickled down from there, of course. So we said, we need to do something to get our membership up. So we changed our bylaws to read anyone who touched the airplane
Oh,
can be in our association. That included the crew chiefs, the electronics, the prop people, the engine people,
yeah,
all those type of people that worked on the airplane.
yeah, yeah.
We invited them in. So with that, we had about, I don't know, about 5 crew chiefs show up.
Mm-hmm.
And we just keep getting kind of trickling down. People getting old. And of course, we're all getting old. We're losing people left and right.
Yeah.
We got a member that's 92 years old.
Wow.
We had another one is 89. I'm 84. And then it goes from the 70s. I don't think we got any 60s though. They're all in the 70s. Well, we probably do have 60s. The younger crew chiefs and things like that, maintenance people.
And they were all part of Vietnam. These were all.
Yeah, you had to be in Vietnam.
Okay.
Yeah, or NKP, either one.
Yeah.
Because out of NKP, they flew missions too.
Yeah.
But when I got to NKP, I spent 2 months there. Then I was sent to Da Nang.
I've definitely heard of Da Nang. Yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, we were sent to Benoit.
Okay. I'm not familiar with that.
But anyway, I got through all that. I don't know why or how or nothing. Thank God I never got really hurt other than the shrapnel I got. But there was a lot of firing at us, so a lot of times.
A lot of it. What does it sound like from inside the plane when incoming fire hits it? Is it?
It rocks the airplane.
It actually rocks it in flight.
Yeah, particularly if it hits a hydraulic line, you lose control.
And that's happened before when you're on.
Yeah, it hit in our shit house, and that's where all the hydraulic pipes and
Yeah.
oil lines and all that are. I brought back an airplane with 13 feet of wing missing.
Jesus.
I did bring it back. Me and the pilot did.
Yeah.
I controlled the
Yeah.
engines, and he controlled the airplane, and the co-pilot controlled the rudders.
Yeah.
And then I brought one back with a 23 hole in the wing. And the one that hit the shit house was a 57. I never forget one night we were flying along and we had the bank, one of the scanners, we had 2 scanners that hung out the airplane, literally hung out the airplane, being held in by a cargo strap.
Okay.
And they would call your brakes.
Yeah.
If you get a rookie, they're not too good at it.
Yeah.
Well, we always try to get a rookie and a senior guy
Yeah.
that's been through the brakes and all that kind of stuff. And I heard it brake right, so they brake right.
Yeah.
It goes up past you, or it goes off by you. If it goes off by you, it rocks the airplane. And, you're talking about TNT. So,
Yeah.
and then I kept, after we made the break, for a while I couldn't hear nobody on the intercom. So I asked IO, that's what they were called, illuminator operators.
Okay.
I said, IO, you there? IO, you there? I said, Gunner 1, check on IO 1. Okay, he's back here, what do you want? I said, I thought he was going out the door or out the airplane. He said, no, I didn't go out. I said, why didn't you answer me? Because I was in the wind, couldn't. But we did have one.
In the wing.
In the wind.
Wind. Oh.
In other words, his head was out in the wind.
Oh, wow.
Or you hear, shh.
Okay.
But we had one mission. I had Nitno. He's called Nitno. He's a gunner. So you have an IO and a gunner that usually hang out. And his name is called Smith. We called him Nitnoy Smith. Well, he was only about 5 foot.
Nitnoy Smith, 5 foot.
Yeah. Nitnoy means little.
Yeah, okay.
So he was hanging out back there, and they literally had to go back and pull him back in. He was actually flying in the wind.
Whoa.
2 times he did that. when they
like
break.
a gunner's harness or something? Is that what had him tethered to the plane?
Cargo strap
Cargo strap.
into his parachute,
Yeah.
straps,
Yeah.
and then tied to a bracelet on the air inside the airplane.
Wow.
He was out there because he couldn't answer. He couldn't get to his mic because it was flapping on the back of him
Yeah.
back here
Almost lost Nitnoid Smith.
twice. That happened to him.
Wow.
I said, well, I guess you were hand gliding, weren't you? He said, yeah, hot.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine. That would be scary.
Anyway, that's about it for my war stories. I ended up after that, I got stationed to Robins Air Force Base,
Georgia.
and B-52s. I did not want to work on them sons of bitches for nothing.
Yeah.
I hated them things. Loud, oily, dirty, greasy. No, of course, there couldn't be no more grease than our airplanes. It leaked oil all the time. But anyway, I got there. Can't remember what month it was.
What year was that?
72.
72. Okay.
So we go through processing, get signed to the squadron, and the line chief says, well, you're going to be working the bread truck. That's, what that is. It's a
Yeah.
crew truck.
Yeah.
I said, no, I'm not. He said, well, then you're going to be a crew chief. I said, no, I'm not. Well, what are you going to do? He said, I'm going to find a damn desk job.
Yeah.
I don't like those things out there. I've always screwed my way around the world, not suck and blow. No props.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah,
I was always on props.
Yeah.
So anyway, they assigned me a truck. I worked that for about a week, and I kept, man, my back is killing me. So I went to the doctor. They did a KUB. That's a X-ray.
Okay.
He said, you got kidney stones, buddy.
Oh man.
Go back home and drink a bunch of beer. I said, well, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I did. And when that kidney stone hit me, I was driving down the road with my kids in the car.
Yeah.
And I felt like somebody stabbed me right in the back.
Oh man.
So I got the car over and I thought, girls, I'm hurting. So can you make the Ingrid? I said, yeah, I think so. And that's my best buddy who happened to get stationed there with me at the same time.
Okay.
Jerry Brightman. And anyway, they took me to the hospital and then I kept going back and forth to the hospital. And the weirdest part about it, the second time they said, well, we can't handle it here. You have to go to Eglin, which is the regional hospital.
Okay.
So I come down here. 3 times I come down here. 2 times they tried to go get it with a,
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how. I thought you had to pass them, but
yeah, you pass them, but they can go get them too.
okay.
Well, he couldn't reach it.
Yeah.
Because it got stuck in the tube coming from the kidney to the bladder.
Okay.
So the 3rd time I come down there, I said, look, doc, I said, you're going to get this thing one way or the other. He says, okay, if I don't get it, I'll slice you open. Well, he did.
Yeah.
On this side. And when I woke up, I knew he'd sliced me open.
Yeah.
And in the jar, again, was
The
kidney stone. That was my first one. No, that was my second one. I had one in Vietnam.
Yeah.
I passed it. I knew I did.
Yeah.
Because after I went, you could see the blood follow.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm down here. My best friend Jerry comes to get me, take me back, and I'm bandaged all up. And he said, well, you're going to the NCO Club wives dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I said, no, I ain't. I said, I can't sit that long.
Yeah.
Oh, just take a bunch of pain pills. You'll be all right. And My first wife, let's go back to her.
Okay.
I married her out of high school.
Okay.
She hadn't graduated yet.
Okay.
So with her, I had 3 girls.
Okay.
And one has already passed away from brain aneurysm, my youngest.
I'm sorry to hear. Yeah.
And the 2 oldest ones are not in the best of shape.
Hmm.
So anyway, we got a divorce in 68. She was tired of me going to Vietnam.
Yeah.
So anyway, I said, okay, that's what you want. So we did. I didn't get nothing. She got the kids. Back in those days, they didn't give you to the husbands or the fathers.
Yeah.
I always went to the woman, no matter what she did.
Wow.
So we got our divorce, and that was in 72. I come back, like I said, Jerry come down and got me. And going, anyway, I ended up going to that dinner.
Yeah.
Sitting there with my hand on my side
Mm-hmm.
because I was laughing so hard from him. He's crazy. He was crazy.
Yeah.
And they sat across from me, and this blonde woman sitting next, about 2 chairs down from him. And I couldn't keep my eyes off of her.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's over with. They danced, and I said, I can't dance. Not like this. So that we go back home, and they take care of me till I could be on my own. And I had a trailer that I lived in off base.
Okay.
So they come to me, Ingrid did, says, you're going to the Valentine's dance, aren't you? I said, no, I ain't got nobody. Yeah, you got Carol? No, I ain't taking Carol. We're broke up. You did? I said, yeah, it's over with her. And she says, well, you're going to go. I said, no, I'm not unless you get me a date. And you know who I want? I want that blonde that's sitting across from me. If you can get her, I'll go.
Okay.
And I thought that was no way in hell.
Yeah.
Well, she worked and she got it, and she called her best friend. Her best friend knew who that blonde was.
Mm-hmm.
And I get a call. She says, here's the phone number, call it. What do you mean? What do you want to call? Call it. So I did. We talked 4 hours on the phone for the first time.
Wow.
You know, all the conversation, you know, are you the one? Yes, I'm the one, and all this stuff, you know. And she told me she was divorced and she had 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. I said, well, I got 3 girls. Both those went,
Brady Bunch.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah.
So anyway, make a long story short there, we married. And with her and the Gunship Association that I could talk to and get all this built up animosity of what happened to me when we returned. Yeah. I come into the San Francisco airport.
Oh my God.
With the uniform. You had to fly with your uniforms.
Yeah.
Wouldn't let you fly in damn civilian clothes.
Yeah.
Had eggs thrown at me, tomatoes, you name it. Spit on, calling us baby killers. Took a while to get over that. And like I say, with Jeannie and the Gunship Association, who you could talk to, your buddies that you flew with, weren't going through the same thing that you went through or had gone through.
Yeah.
So that's, you talk about patriotism? I'm a patriot son of a bitch.
Yeah. Explain that.
Well, I believe in the flag. I believe in the United States. That's the only reason I went to Vietnam. Agreed to go the first time. Second time, I knew it was all political.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get out.
Yeah.
And then when you come back, that all happened to you, you know, so I don't know. It just, I had to have that or spit on the flag, one of the two. And I wasn't going to do that.
No.
I'm too patriotic for that.
You love this country so much, you'll go to war for it, and then you come back and you just ask for people to not love you the same, but not spit on you. And
Right, exactly. Recognize me as a man at least.
Yeah, but to love you the same would be appropriate.
Yes.
The country owed you that. It still owes you that.
They're trying, but like there's going to be a Vietnam Patriotic Appreciation Day.
I heard the end of this month.
Yes.
In Niceville.
Yes.
I
Well,
heard.
the banquet is going to be held at the fairgrounds.
Okay.
That's on Wednesday night.
Okay.
Me and my baby Huey is going to go with me. He was another gunner, baby Huey.
He was really young. How do you get the name Baby? Babyface?
He's big as a damn mountain.
And he's air
He can
crew.
pick you up with one hand.
He was air crew.
Yeah.
He had to be relatively small.
No, he was a gunner.
Yeah.
So he could handle them guns and an ammo.
Yeah.
And he lives right here too.
Okay.
And he watches over me and comes and checks on me. We go to dinner a lot.
Yeah.
And he helps them with the reunions. And what was I talking about before that? Patriotic.
You were talking about the Vietnam remembrance, some sort of ceremony here in Fort Walton.
I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
But it's a 3-day thing.
Okay.
Monday, there's no charge to go. I signed up for the banquet too. So I don't know. I submitted the paperwork with the medical records showing where I had a piece of shrapnel taken out of my left calf. And it says shrapnel.
Yeah.
After a rocket attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. He sent it in. About 2 weeks later, I get a letter saying, denied.
Huh.
Signed by an airman first class. I take that in. Here, Jerry, what do you think of this? He looked at that and says, are you shitting me?
Yeah.
Gets on the phone and says, I want to talk to your OIC.
Yeah.
Officer in charge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he gets his captain on the line. He rips him a new one. How can you deny this airman this medal by an airman first class that does not know nothing about what happened? You got medical records that tells what happened. Ain't that all you need? He said, sir, resubmit it. We resubmitted it. A week and a half later, I get a call from Eglin. How would you like to be presented your Purple Heart? I said, what? So Jerry said, we're going all out.
Yeah.
I said, what do you mean we're going all out? You're going to be presented the Purple Heart at the Air Force Army Museum. I said, I am? Yeah, he said, get your shit together. So I did.
Uniform and everything?
Well, I couldn't get no damn uniform.
Yeah.
Hurting. I wake up hurting. I take pain pills. I'm not addictive.
Yeah.
But I do take my pain pills. And every now and then I go back to my pain management doctor and he'll give me shots.
Yeah.
And the 22nd of this month, I go in and get my nerves burned. And I had that done before, and that helped for about 6 months.
Yeah.
He said, oh, that's about as long as they last. We'll go and reburn them again.
I've heard of that. Yep.
Yeah. And it works.
Yeah.
I'll admit that it worked. I wasn't in pain for a long time with that. Yeah. But I kept doing my pain management with my pills.
Yeah.
And they test you, not every time, but every 3 months, give me a sample. They know if you're taking too much.
Yeah.
And I know I ain't.
No.
So.
What if you had the ear of high school students thinking about enlisting in the Air Force or any branch now? What would be your advice to them? What legacy would you like to leave in their ear?
In their ear?
Or in their head?
Trust your heart.
Yeah.
So like I say now, if you join the service, give it all you got. Because they will take care of you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't think so. I thought the same thing, that they weren't going to take care of me. But I'm here.
Yeah.
And there's a reason. You got to protect yourself and fight for yourself. But yeah, I would recommend them join. I would say Air Force. I wouldn't say anything else. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I understand. Love them all. But well, anyway, it's been great getting to know you, and thanks for sharing that story. I can't imagine
I've had a rough.
breaking right?
I've had a rough life though. Oh, but prior to that, I went septic on kidneys,
Wow.
and I was seeing a urologist. Somebody's coming by somewhere, and
Yeah.
I just seen him. I go out to the parking lot and collapse.
Jeez.
Thankfully, the guy was getting out of the car. He said, "You need any help? You need any help? Just sit me up. I'll call my daughter. I'll stay with you till she shows up." Okay, thank you. And she shows up. We had the urologist's phone. He gave us his personal phone number because he was also Air Force and he's also working off base as a, what do they call it? You get to, like it was with me when I,
Traveling nurse?
no, he was a urologist.
Yeah.
He worked on base as a urologist and worked off base as a urologist.
Yeah.
But anyway, he was off base then. And he told her to take me to the emergency room. They did. They took a x-ray. Said he's got kidney stones. And so he says, okay. But the time that happened, to the time he decided to go in and get him, I went septic. Because I had bladder infection and kidney stone infection, or kidney infections. He went in, it took 4 days to get those stones out.
Jeez.
24 of them.
Jeez. I can't imagine that.
And then it took another 20 days for the infectious control doctor
To get the infections under control?
with antibiotics. They had me on the strongest antibiotics you could think of.
Yeah.
And I had to go in a chair and I had a pick in. You know what a pick is, right?
Yeah.
It's where they put a needle into your vein.
Yeah.
And you'd like to put it into a big vein.
Yeah.
And you got a bag hanging up there in the head.
Yeah.
I sat in that chair for 6 hours with the tripping. And I called the doctor and I said, "Doc, I can't sit in this chair for 6 hours." He said, "Well, you can move around. Well, you can take this thing with you and move around." I said, "That ain't the point. That's 6 hours." He said, well, you look like you tolerated it all right. I said, "Well, I hope so. I'm still here." So he said, "Well, next time I had to go every day." Next day, he got it down to 5 hours. Next day, he got it down to 4 hours.
Yeah.
And I stayed on that for 22 days until he comes in.
Wow.
He says, "Well, your enzymes look good. I think you're okay. We'll take the pick out and you're okay."
Wow.
So that's another time I almost died. I don't know why I'm still here. I really don't. Unless he's really got something for me. I wish he'd hurry up and show me, though. Maybe I don't want to know.
Yeah.